Hello, I'm Jake Boudrot, Civic Journalist at Tello Community Television. With me today is James Goyetche, former Richmond Warden and longtime councillor who is seeking election in District 1, which takes in the communities of Alderney Point, Little Anse, Petit de Grat, and part of Arichat. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I guess we'll start where I've started with the others. I know you're well known in the district, you've been around a while, but as the returning officer, Richmond County's returning officer, Claire Rankin, noted the other day, the voters list has actually increased from 2020 to 2024. And so we have some newer residents, and there's probably some younger voters who might not know you as well as some of the older voters. So maybe if you wouldn't mind talking a bit about yourself.
Okay, yes, I obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree from St. FX University. After that, I went to work with the municipality county of Richmond, and I stayed there for about 5 years. I was employed on numerous jobs. I went to life insurance. I was a produce manager. I done bartending. At the last, I even worked at Clearwater Foods. I done some safety work or supervisory work. And of course, until the time that I finally retired, and I became a councillor in 1982, off and on. I think I served a total of about 23 years as councillor, combined with 5 years office work at the municipal government. So I got around 29 years experience in municipal government. I live in Petit de Grat. I've been there all my life. I am currently married to Maria Sampson. She's a Goyetche now. She's happy about that. So I guess that's my life story. I sort of retired, but I always had an interest in local government, municipal politics, and that's why I'm offering again for the county.
In the skills you've acquired and the experiences you've had over your lifetime, how do you feel those are a good fit for you to continue to serve or to serve again on council, I guess, depending on how you want to see it?
Well, I always had my main objective, I guess, when I first ran, was I'm always concerned about taxes. That's my main concern. And when I mean concerned about taxes, I'd like to provide a certain level of service to the taxpayers at a half-decent tax rate. And when you look at it right now, in this day and age, we have a senior population. I think Almadam, maybe 60% are seniors on fixed incomes. So I'd like to keep the tax rate at a half-decent rate so that it becomes affordable for seniors because, you know, like I said, they're on fixed incomes, and especially today, it's hard to extend the dollar beyond what you have. It's very difficult. And when I've seen over the years, we had an increase of 5 cents in the tax rate over the last 4 years. That in itself, I guess, is not a drastic increase, but combined with the increase in assessments of over 25% in that same period of time, that means that taxpayers in Richmond County are paying a lot more taxes. Now, when you have an increase of about 25% more in assessment, that means that the revenue increased by over 25% in Richmond County. So if the revenue increased by that much, that means did the revenue exceed the expenditures over those number of years? And what do you do with the excess revenue? Is it put into a reserve? Or if it is, why don't they utilize that additional money, if there is a surplus, to offset the tax rate a little bit, to drop it down? And again, these are hard times. People have a hard time to make the dollar go the distance or go where it should go. So I think it's something we got to look at. And like I said, my interest is main interest, and when I go house to house, their main concern are the taxes. Of course, there are other concerns, and one major one, I guess, is the fact that we had no celebration on July 1st this year on Almadam. A lot of people said they went outside the island to Loosedale, St. Peter's, River-Bourgeois, Lard West, and they all had activities going on for July 1st, and none on Almadam. And I think it's time we, I don't remember when we never had celebrations for a Canada Day on Almadam. And if we can't find a volunteer organization or individuals to put it on, then I think it's the Recreation Department should make sure that we do have a celebration on Canada Day next year. So, and there are other major concerns, and depending where you go, and seniors are concerned also. They want what is there out there for seniors, and you have to look at activities for them, and then you got on the other end, certain people are saying, well, what about the youth? What about the young people in our community? What is there out there for them? So there's a combination of a lot of different things that a councillor has to be aware of, and that a councillor has to answer certain questions and look at what could be, I don't know, the answer to most of their concerns for seniors, for the youth, and for all of the taxpayers in Richmond County.
You hit on a number of issues there. You were talking about affordability and taxes and you know, activities and things like that. What are some of the other issues you see that are facing, I guess, District 1 and the municipality as a whole, other than what you just discussed there?
The big thing, of course, you heard over the years, and I heard a lot of things about affordability, not affordability, but transparency, accountability, being transparent. And I think these are very good words. But I think we got to bring back these words into municipal government. Accountability and transparency. That should be part of municipal government. And what happens here is that if you don't do that, these words are only good as long as you exercise them or practice them. Other than that, they're just two words in the English dictionary. And I think it's something that's got to come back into a municipal council, and it's very important. I think the public wants that, they deserve that, and I think that's what, if I'm elected, I'll be working towards that also.
You mentioned, going back to those issues you discussed, you know, the feeling that tax rates maybe are too high, and steps need to be taken at the municipal level to make life more affordable for people in your district. And you just talked about it, transparency and accountability, something that's come up. How would you put that into practice?
For example, I know we had the last council, not this one here, but the one before that, that's 2016 to 2020, we had done a strategic plan. This was done by, at that time, the CAO, Kent McIntyre, that had done a fantastic job. And we had sessions in 10 sessions across Richmond County, well attended and by seniors, well attended by almost, I think, everybody in Richmond County at the sessions that I went through. And they lasted from 7 o'clock. Some of them went till from 7 to 10. They were well done, but all of a sudden now this is done. And when I say accountable, after we finished that, the booklet came out, the strategic plan. Council had another strategic session just last year or this year. And that to me is a duplication, because I read that report that came from, and they're exactly the same almost as the first one we had, just with a few extra words attached to it, different wording. But the bottom line is it's the same thing. So to be accountable, why spend money again on something that's already been done? We had a fire services review in Richmond County, and the consultant's report that came back said the gist of it's a 400-page document, which I read, 400 pages, and the bottom line is you pay for services that you get. And I understand that. If I get a carpenter to come home, when he's finished the work, I pay him. If he's not finished the work, I don't. So it's the same thing with fire that we pay through Point Tupper. This council gave $60,000 a year to Port Hawkesbury to provide fire services to our pulp mill in Point Tupper area. So, and there hasn't been a fire that I know of in the past 10 years at the pulp mill or anywhere in Point Tupper. So once again, you pay for services rendered. If you don't get anything, you don't pay. So why would they pay $60,000 a year or to Port Hawkesbury for fire protection if they don't get the service? And that's what I mean by accountability. You've got to be accountable for these things. And that makes a big difference when you come down to the bottom line, if you're saying the revenue versus expenditures, depending where you expend your money. So these are things we have to look at and be careful.
So if you are elected, what are your priorities in this coming 4-year term?
Well, my priorities, like I said to maintain, is that I want to keep a half-decent tax rate. I want to maintain the level of service there is to our residents, to our taxpayers, at a half-decent tax rate. And I know you have the essential services we have to pay. You got education, you got policing, you get fire protection, you get garbage collection, you get street lighting, you get lights and all this and that, and there are other services that municipality offers, but these services have to be dealt with at a half-decent rate. Some are mandatory contributions that we have no choice. You have to pay for education, which I feel is very important. You have to pay for policing, which is very important. We pay an area rate on fire protection. You pay for garbage collection. You pay for recreational services that they provide. So these are all important, but I'd like to keep those services. And don't forget that we are a rural area. I don't like the idea of trying to urbanize a rural area. People come to a rural area for one reason. They like the quiet. They like the people in a rural area where they're all friendly, and as long as you have the essential necessities that we do have, you have a school, some want schools, churches, all these things that are important to a family, and for somebody to bring up their family in a small area where you have, and you need some recreational facilities for the young, and I think that's important also. But the bottom line, and it's always been my story, is taxes. That's always been my concern from day one when I joined council. I'd like to have a half-decent tax rate and provide a certain level of service to the people of Petit de Grat that I represent and Richmond County as a whole.
You mentioned taxes too, but what about water, sewer rates and area rates and things like that? Like you said, there's a need to maintain those services, but there has to be some happy medium as to how much people can pay. Is there some concern on your part with that?
Water and sewer services, that's an extra. Some people on Madame, or excuse me, the people I represent are on water and sewer. Others are not. I'm on the water and sewer myself, and I think it's the best thing that I ever received. Maybe other people have different opinions of it. I pay quarterly for my water and sewer, and it probably comes to $800 a year, which I feel is very good. I don't have to worry about my septic system. I don't have to worry about the water, it's right there. A lot of people don't have it that would love to have it, but it's something that you gotta, again, any kind of services or any kind of capital project that you're going to invest in, you gotta make sure that it's affordable. It's all right to say, I want something, I need it, but can you afford it? And I feel that we had a good program out that when I got the municipal government involved in it, Alderney Point, Little Anse, Hanson's Cove, people that didn't have water and sewer, there was a project, waste management project, and which I included Alderney Point, Little Anse, Sampson's Cove, and Burrish were the places that didn't have the services. If they wanted to participate in the program, they could, and we were successful in having that. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's something that we should, again, approach the federal government for this program. A lot of people would need it. But like you mentioned, water and sewer is, to me, the greatest thing that ever came out. It costs a lot of money. If you had to do it today, I'm sure it would cost a lot more than when I got involved in it.
Now, there have been some changes to the district, District 1. Highland Street has been taken out of District 1 and moved into District 2. And there was also people on the east end of Benays Lane are still in District 1, but people on the west part of Benays Lane are now in District 2. And it seems they're minor changes, but do you find that there's any confusion about where people are supposed to go? And has word gotten out about where people are, what district they belong to, or is there any confusion from what you've been seeing?
There's no confusion as far as the people that I visited, but there was confusion when I first started. And it wasn't them that were confused, it was me. Because when I looked on the mapping, it says I go on Highway 206 as far as number 513. And when I looked at it, I tried to find didn't exist. I was way past the line that I should have been. So, and then on the rural road, on Veterans Memorial Drive, there was another different number that wasn't in my district. So I went to the municipal office and I explained to them that I didn't like the idea of campaigning in District 2 when I'm running in District 1. So we got that settled. But I had no complaints whatsoever when I went around. As a matter of fact, I started in Arichat first. I wanted to do that first because the boundaries were, where my extension came from. And I had no complaints. The people that were in the district said, they don't mind. They're on the same street. Whatever district they're in, I don't think makes any difference to them. It made a difference to me in Island Street that I had certain people there that I thought would vote in my district, but it just happens they changed. Why they changed, I don't know. I don't know if it's because of population, the numbers, but for me it worked out okay.
I know you announced you were running just around the deadline, and you've been campaigning ever since. So just get a sense of how you've been spending your time on the campaign trail, and what are your plans for the weeks and days ahead?
Well, my plans right now is to finish campaigning Arichat. I started in Arichat. I almost finished. There's a lot more houses than I expected. I didn't think Arichat was that big, actually. But I had, there's a little Bourgeois that I done, all the Cape Ogut. Then I had to go to Grand Dig Road, up to Glenn Marchand's house, and then Sean Campbell on the other side. So I'm almost done the whole district. After that, I want to concentrate in Petit de Grat. I got Little Anse, Sampson's Cove. Then I got to do Alderney Point. I got all of Boudreauville, and I got the stretch. So my intention, and I hope that the weather rolls out, it's beautiful weather, and I don't have to come again on an interview, take away from my campaigning. Once I'm finished with you, that's it. I can concentrate on and I intend to do, I want to do every house possible. I intend, maybe I won't be able to do it, and sometimes people aren't home. I try to leave a little my picture with my phone number, which I know people don't, my picture is not important, but the phone number is there so you know who it is. But my intention is to go house to house, so that I'll be satisfied, regardless what the outcome is. If I go house to house, I'll be satisfied that I that I tried my best, and whatever the outcome is, I accept.
That's great. I know, as you noted, I know you're busy, and I appreciate you taking time off the campaign trail to come here and answer my questions and speak with our viewers here at Tello.
I thank Tello very much for the opportunity, and it's great. It gives the people a chance to, those that don't know me, like you said, a lot of newcomers in the area, and I noticed that, as a matter of fact. People, when I went around the homes in Arichat, there are quite a few people, and I know there are quite a few new faces up in Little Anse, Samson's Cove, Alderney Point, people that have moved down here, and I accept their their visit. It's not a visit; they're here to stay, which is great. It helps Almadam and the whole of Richmond. So, but I thank once again Ted Little for the opportunity. Thank you very much.